Any additions or corrections? If none, motion to accept.
I'll make a motion to accept.
Second it?
Charlie, and seconded. Okay.
Charlie Shoemaker,
Yes.
Jeff Clem,
Yes.
Jim Westmoreland,
Yes.
Dean Mober.
Yes. Anyone from the audience have anything to discuss this evening? Hearing none, we'll move on to the chief's report.
The only thing I have to add, on the new pumper truck, the committee has come up with their recommendations, and I have met with the dealer last week. We did some cutting, a little bit of cutting here and there. We got it down. Right now, it's about 470. So they're going to go ahead and start doing drawings and come up with the final. That's still a iffy number. But it's going to be right in that 450, 470 range. So I don't know if by June we'll have the final drawings and stuff for you guys, but at least by July we'll have the final drawings. And then Paul will come in. Dennis, the gentleman that talked to you guys before, has retired for health reasons, so he's sold his half of the business to another gentleman. But Paul, who's been there forever, is going to take over for us, and he's going to work up the numbers and the financing numbers and stuff too. So
Okay, good.
hopefully by, I don't know if we'll have it by June, but at least by the July meeting, because I told him we're not in any hurry. We're not going to be making any decisions till after budget anyway.
Correct.
So that's where we're at on that.
Okay, good.
So
470, huh?
yeah, 470-ish. It kind of went up a little bit. But it went down from where the guys, we took the Cadillac out and we took, some of the stuff out, which I told the guys to get what they wanted
Yeah.
and
And then told them no.
then told them no. So that's where we're at, so.
Perfect.
The only thing at this point, and I think we should probably put it in the minutes, Mr. Miller's not here tonight. I'm just reading your report. First line was, he's just in the minutes, since Jamie moved out of the city limits, he can no longer represent the city for the fire board, and that's why he's not here tonight, but it was stated in the chief's report earlier.
I did talk to Mike Smith with City. They were going to try and have us somebody within 30 to 60 days, and I told him that that's going to be right on top of our budget, so we need to sooner the better, so where that goes from there. So we will keep moving on.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, items for action. Let's start with our audit here, which I'm assuming
Tonight we have Michael Keenan with us from Cochran Head Vic.
you sent us.
I sent you guys that electronically,
Okay.
and that's your book.
Same thing.
Same,
Okay.
yep.
All right, thanks for being here.
Yeah, welcome. I appreciate you, the opportunity. As I think you've got electronic versions of this, and now you have the
Okay.
hard copies. And then I've kind of put a little presentation together that I've handed out.
See that? Okay.
A financial and compliance audit addresses three basic questions. Are the financial statements free of material misstatement? Are effective internal controls in place? Are they designed and operating effectively? And did the fire district comply in all material respects with finance-related laws and regulations? That was the three questions we set out to answer. Our responsibility is to perform our audit in accordance with generally accepted auditing standards and governmental auditing standards. Plan and perform our audit to obtain reasonable but not absolute assurance that the financial statements are free of material misstatement. The objective is to provide, I just already read that, excuse me, but also report on internal controls over financial reporting and on compliance with laws and regulation. The scope of our audit is the basic financial statements, which is the larger document, which is presented on the budget basis of accounting, which is a comprehensive basis other than generally accepted accounting principles. Basically what that means is you're on a cash basis versus an accrual basis, and you're not reporting all of your capital assets and those types of items. Again, there were no scope restrictions. The Auditing Standards Board of the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants to govern what we do recommend that we communicate these matters to the governing board. Illegal acts, none came to our attention as a result of performing our procedures. Significant accounting policies, there were no changes from the previous year. We're pleased to report we had no disagreements with management. We had full cooperation and access to the books and records. A summary of our reports and the answers to the basic questions. Our report on the district's financial statements. In our opinion, the financial statements are presented fairly in all material respects, which is also known as a clean opinion. Again, you may look, and we do have to, according to our profession, give you an adverse opinion in that you're not presenting GAAP basis financial statements. So it's a requirement that we put that in the opinion, but you can also see our opinion on your financial statements as they're presented on a budgetary basis are materially correct. Our report on internal controls over financial reporting and compliance. We did not identify any deficiencies in internal controls that we consider to be material weaknesses that we would have to report. And again, we did not identify any instances of non-compliance that were required to report as well. The management letter comments, this is our comment that we've had in there since inception, pointing out the segregation of duties, that you have one individual responsible for that, but you do have adequate compensating controls, and the board is actively involved in reviewing financial transactions, financial statements, budget, bank statements, and you also have an outside third party do your financial reporting for you.
Right.
So we still nevertheless have to mention that as a concern. However, you still have compensating controls that we think and believe are effective in mitigating those control risks.
Did you specify all that in the report? The mitigating and,
Yeah, we put that in there as and say that the district has taken steps to implement compensating controls. Had not, and then over the history, I think back in '03, '04, we reported that as like a significant deficiency. And as the years have gone by, those compensating controls have been implemented. So the comment, as far as being a deficiency, significant deficiency or material, has gone away, yet we still feel it important to let the governing body know
Maintain visibility.
that it's still there. And Cochran Hiddenvick appreciates this opportunity to serve the fire district, and I want to give a special thanks to Rick for all the assistance he has provided with our staff and providing the records and the documents that we needed to conduct our engagement. It's been a professional manner, and we always appreciate working with Rick. Does anybody have any questions I'll attempt to answer?
Glad we're here. We're doing things the way we should be. We have a lot of controls, as you say, helping with finances and looking over
Yeah.
taxpayers' dollars. So I think it's a good system, and as you saw, nothing to hide. It's
No, and that's how we like it. You know, the records are there. If we ask to look at a document, the support is there. It's signed according to your policies and procedures, who signs it, who reviews it. And I think that's great that you take an active role in the financial reporting and compliance requirements of monitoring the district's finances. Again, it's a very important role, and if it's all transparent and it's right there, nothing to hide, and it's like you want to look at something, it's all right here. And that's great, and I commend you guys for that.
now, in the audit responsibilities, when I read on the second item, when I read obtain reasonable, not absolute assurance, does that indicate there's a sampling somewhat, or I don't quite understand not absolute?
That's correct. We do not test and look at every
Yeah,
transaction
yeah.
entered into by the district.
But in your professional judgment, your sampling is...
We're sampling and we're selecting the more significant items.
Yeah. I just wanted to make sure that's what it was, that's what I...
Yeah, that's precisely what that is.
Any other question? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and hope you have a splendid evening and be out here soon. I think that's what-
Thank you, Michael, appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Just so the board is aware, and I don't know if anyone else was, I was interviewed by their manager.
Jamie was interviewed.
Every year to make sure and confirm someone from the board does not have any questions or raising any questions about our financial mechanisms here and that type of thing. So I guess two of us were.
They interviewed the chairman and the treasurer every year,
Okay, that was done.
and me.
Okay, moving on to
No, we need
executive
to
session.
approve the audit.
Oh, yes. Hearing the audit and the information presented, questions I think were answered. Do I have a motion to accept the 2012 audit as presented?
I move.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded.
Charlie Shoemaker,
Yes.
Jeff Clamp,
Yes.
Jim Westmoreland,
Yes.
Dean Mulberg.
Yes. And moving on to our executive sessions. With the audience that we have here, I think what we'll do is combine. And I think 30 minutes will be adequate here. If not, we can come back and reconvene. But let's move to executive session. And let's return at, I'll make it easy, 6:40.
Do we need to make a motion on that?
We do.
Move into executive session to discuss matters relating to non-elected personnel, acquisition of real property, and consultation with the board deemed privileged in attorney-client relationship. From, what do you say, 6:14 to 6:45.
We have a motion. We have a second.
Second. Oh, Charlie got it.
I'll second.
Okay.
Charlie Shoemaker,
Yes.
Jeff Clamp,
Yes.
Jim Westmoreland,
Yes.
Dean Mulberg.
Yes.
Y'all miss it.
Okay, we are a little early, which is fine. I'd like to call the meeting to order again at 6:43.
Need a motion to come back out.
Yep. Need a motion to reconvene.
I'll make that motion.
Pass it down.
Second.
Charlie Shoemaker,
Yes.
Jeff Clamp,
Yes.
Jim Westmoreland,
Yes.
Dean Mulberg.
Yes. Okay, next item for discussion, the pay scale, 2014.
I gave you guys earlier this week, or last week, a copy of the pay scale and a copy of this sheet. Jeff came in Thursday night, and we had a heart-to-heart, and apparently his heart's bigger than mine. So if you'll notice, there's some scratch-throughs on this. Basically, we had a conversation on overtime, and how we promised last year to cut overtime, and we did make that promise. So basically, what I have done is went back to what we budgeted overtime for this year. And then one item that I do budget overtime on is sick pay. And our guys are extremely good about not taking sick days. We had 70 hours last year for 7 guys for sick pay, so I budget about $6,000 for sick pay. So I cut that in half. And so that's the new number there. Instead of, say, $47,000 for overtime, I've budgeted $42,850 for overtime for next year. So that's a significant decrease in overtime.
So in 2013, you're looking to overtime,
We budgeted $45,850 in 2013.
where are we going to come in at?
For this year? I have no idea. I mean, I got 7 months left. I don't know.
Are we trending on budget?
We're trending right about where we were last year. Well, last year we spent $37,000 in overtime.
Thank you.
So we're right
That's-
about where we're at last year.
2012 was 37K.
Yes. We budgeted $32,000 in 2012 and we spent $37,000. We had a significant
And you budgeted-
issue. And we budgeted $45,000, and again, if we don't spend this money, it goes back into our capital reserve fund.
I understand.
So it's not, we just, hey, have everybody show up. What I try to do is maintain a staff of 3 during the daytime, Monday through Friday, because we are extremely short on people Monday through Friday. If you guys notice on that handout I give you every month, there's yellow marks on there now, and those are shifts that just the duty shift responded. Those are not medical calls. Those are actual fire calls that no volunteers showed up for. And it's pretty significant, so, you know, we're looking at maybe hiring some more people to backfill the shifts there.
If we finished 2012 at 37K, and the expectation was we would be less than that, do you see us coming in 2013 less than 37K?
No, I don't see us being less than 37, no.
What
Because
did-
we're right on target now where we was last year.
What did we miss? So, one of the things, I know Jamie advocated when we were and he's not here to kind of walk us through his thoughts on that, but he was pretty confident we should see a reduction in overtime. Part of the reasons why we added the headcount, did what we did, because we said that, hey, there's going to be, not necessarily the hours, but the amount spent was going to be reduced.
Right.
And if we're not seeing that, and the model would say that we decided to vote on, and why we voted on it, the model said, hey, you're going to see a reduction. Are we doing something wrong on how we're managing it? Is there an opportunity to find ways to continue to reduce? Because the conversation seems to be going down, we're going to need even more.
Well, again, I just said we're going to cut our overtime by $3,000
Well, we're cutting what
from
we
this year.
budgeted.
Right.
But with the actual amount being spent is still $5,000, actually less than that, from what, if we're
Right.
talking just actuals.
Right.
Should we see a reduction in actual? I guess if we're not, I don't know where we get the answer, because the model, we should see less, an actual that's less.
Well, if we want to maintain minimum manning, is what I started to talk about.
Right.
We want to maintain 3 guys. So when I take off, somebody backfills for me. When Dave takes off, somebody backfills for him during the daytime. When those guys take off at night, we want to maintain 2 people.
Right.
So again, we're
We
backfilling that
budgeted
position.
and voted on the position and the change to the 24 hours. Did you assume that we would have minimum manning when we were?
Yes.
So all right, if we assume we have minimum manning already in the model, and we're agreeing that we still need minimum manning, I guess we have some kind of a disconnect that we're not seeing overtime lower than,
Well, we had no idea, the very first year of 2012 was our first year of 24 hours, so I had no idea of where we were spending. I mean, it was just, this was a swag. I just pulled a number out there, this is where I think we're gonna be, like I say, I budgeted 32, we spent 37.
I agree, I think you're.
Okay, so,
yeah.
and then last year when we did the budget, we were halfway through the year, so I kinda had okay, this is where I think we're gonna be, so we budgeted
It's
45.
definitely not a,
Because I knew we were gonna be over the 32.
an attack, it's more just to
And,
understand.
well, that's what I'm trying to say, and I tried to tell you, I'm not a business major, I'm doing the best I can with what I got. So by last July, okay, we're over the 32, what we budgeted, I know we're gonna be over that, so where are we gonna be at? These guys gotta take their vacation time, you know, because right now, like Tony last year, didn't take an hour vacation all year. Tony, you gotta take vacation, well, I don't need it, but at some point, he's gonna build up the max hours where he's gotta start taking his vacation.
Or he loses it, right?
Or he loses it. So
Right.
they're gonna start taking their vacation time. One guy, Mark, he takes his annual training for the military, and then he takes vacation on top of it.
What do we max
That, I
out?
love that, because that gets 2 birds with 1 stone.
What do we max, what's max overtime, or vacation, just,
200 some hours,
Mine has 241. I believe.
241, Tony.
and that's our max?
Yeah,
Well,
no,
it depends on how many
number of
years you
years.
have with the department.
You can go up to 400 hours. It's a scale that you guys put in.
Yeah.
So, but right now, about 200 hours is what they can say.
Well, I think the thing we need to lay out, we're talking pay scale here, but budget is a big deal. Number one, we don't want to increase our bill.
No, I got a question, and it's somewhere where he started before you get at that. What you're telling us, no matter what our budget is, that we're gonna have to run this fire department off overtime to a certain degree.
If you want to maintain minimum manning,
That's what you're
yes.
saying?
Yes.
And so...
Somebody's going to be on, we don't have any extra staff to fill in.
Chief, I ain't arguing. I'm just
Okay.
trying to put up here...
Right.
No matter what we budget, we're gonna have to run this department on overtime. Now, I've been in a lot of finances. Where I'm coming with this is, if we know, and I understand what you just said, well, half a year and this is a full year, and then now your mill levy's in there, 'cause that's where we get our money. And then we need better projection on our budget so we can operate. I understand that if somebody gets hurt or something, that somebody got to take their, but the way we're going about it, I'm not sure it's the right way to go. Don't know how to explain it. We're trying to be the best department we can with the budget we got. But we already know from what you just said, the minimum is going to be $37,000. So you get where I'm going or not? $37,000 over budget.
Well, when we voted on the model, we did vote
Overtime.
overtime in.
But you
Right.
count that
And-
on to
Yeah.
the total.
Correct. No, I see the only way to eliminate the overtime, which is what we started with our minimum manning that we want, is to hire more full-time people.
And
There's the,
eventually that
I mean, and you're talking overtime, if you've got full-timers to cover that, there is no overtime. I don't think we want to hire more full-time people at this point.
Well, 37K in overtime doesn't get you to one FTE, and adding one FTE doesn't completely eliminate
No,
overtime.
no.
If you said it would completely eliminate
Yeah, no,
overtime, then
37 is
it'd
not
be
gonna hire a guy.
Easy decision to add one
Yeah,
more.
the 42 is not going to hire a guy,
Correct.
not with all benefits.
So right now, best buy for the buck is to pay the overtime and not hire another person.
It is, that's correct.
Okay.
At this
okay,
point,
all right, all right.
Okay, you can sit up here. So number one, I think we will have more money to work with without raising the mill this year. I think things are looking better. The other thing, to make sure everybody understands the step, the way this was developed was to have incentive for guys to get their training and for longevity to stay with the department. So if you get more credentials, it's just a scale. I mean, it was set up, I guess, the day they opened up the fire district. So this is what we have to work with. This is what the guys are aware of also, to kind of expect, if I do a good job, get good reports, evaluations, and I'm still here, I can expect to be bumped up a step annually. The way I look at it, we're going to have X number of dollars for our budget at 6.24? 6 point whatever, mil, that's it. We spend that money at the chief's recommendations, however sees fit, but that's it. I love the fact that we run this department and don't get over budget. Go to a school district meeting, or city council, or county commissioners, et cetera. So anyway, I don't think the biggest thing is we do not want to increase the mill. I think we're adequate where we are. Overtime isn't enough to warrant another full-time person.
So by raising, if you do your step, you're going to average around 3% increase for everybody. Might be like 2.9%.
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
So you're just under 3%. Lieutenants get 3%, a little bit more, depending on where they're at on the lieutenant scale. So it's 3 or higher for lieutenants.
Correct.
Lieutenant gets 3.
So let's take a lieutenant, they're going to get 3%. On top of that, if they average about 10% of overtime, which is, most of the overtime comes from looking at the data, I think comes from lieutenants. Is that fair?
No, it's pretty much divided.
It looks like it's about a 10%, overtime is about a 10% increase from looking at least the information I was looking at. So they're going to give them a 3% increase on the step. In addition to that, they're also going to have an increase in the overtime, which is the average pay, I think is what we calculated, is quite a bit more than 3% when you build in. It's a lot, if you take a base salary, you take an average of 6 to 9% of overtime, which is what they get paid, and they're working for that time.
Oh, yeah.
In addition to that, you give them 3%, and then they're also getting an additional 3% on top of the overtime.
Well, they're getting the step 3%,
Correct.
which is base and overtime.
Well,
No.
If their base is increased, then their overtime is increased
that's correct.
by 3%. Yes.
So it's, the amount of pay that individual lieutenant goes up is more than 3%. It's going to end up being like an average of 4%.
But he's working for that extra.
From where they
1%.
are today.
Yeah, it's going to be like 4.5% increase. From where they're at today, it's going to be almost 10%.
Well, no, because again, overtime, we're not giving overtime. They're working the overtime.
Yes.
So, and
Well,
now
most of it's due to
we're going
training.
to give them less overtime because we just cut the overtime budget.
Most of it's is due to training.
Right, well, no, most of it's due to, well, right now it's due to training, yeah, but it's going to be vacations. ATs, annual trainings. But yeah, vacations and annual trainings, it.
Well, with overtime going up, and you're actually saying that it's going to stay flat,
We're-
you're going to be
we're-
challenged to keep it flat.
Yes, I'm going to
Because
check, because
you're-
we're going to do some we're going to do some shifts where they're not going to backfill for me.
I actually think
I'm
that's
still
a
going to
fair
have two
challenge.
guys, what?
I think it's a fair challenge for
Yes.
you, because overtime's going to, even though it's theoretically going up 3% or some percentage based on the increase, you're still going to have to keep it flat. So actually,
Right.
overtime is going
Oh,
to.
and overtime's going down because if they get
You're
a
right.
step, then that makes more they make per hour. Now
Having
I've got
done
less
this now
dollars.
for a year, year and a half, we can see where we are, and we should plateau. The only thing to change is if we decide to have 4 men down here at a time or hire another full-time person, then it changes the plateau.
Or if we force vacation.
Or we have
Yeah, and
unexpected
they're gonna have to
illness
start taking
or
vacations.
injury or something like that. But it should plateau pretty well now, with that we've done it a year.
Yeah.
We know where we are.
So we budget this overtime, and everybody starts taking vacations, we're going to blow overtime out of the water.
We're going to blow it down. And then
So there's
we're-
there's no.
But then again, okay, now what are we going to do? Well, we'll cut back to where we're going to have to cut back. Rick's going to have to start working some night shifts or whatever.
You would have to cut back on training. If we start
Yeah,
blowing
we'll
overtime out of the
come back
water,
training.
training gets cut.
And that's the biggest thing, like Jamie says, Jamie, Leavenworth, I talked to all these guys, they cannot afford to send their guys to training. They have no training dollars at all. I want to send these guys to as much training as we can. I told Jeff the other night, I just sent Adam and Tony down to a structural collapse class. It's about a $40,000 class, and it cost us nothing, except the 80 hours that I had to backfill their overtime to go to class. That's the kind of classes I
I
want to
don't
send these guys
think
to.
you've got to have overtime. That's your contingency. And an outfit like this is loaded with contingencies. You never know what's going to happen. So you're going to have overtime to cover contingencies. There's just no question
I
about
agree,
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. So.
I guess
you
the
know,
discussion was, I was just trying to set up the discussion on step plus cost of living. Kind of based on the conversation I had with Rick last week. I was leaning towards just only feeling good about a cost of living only. And I do think that a step is probably a better decision. And putting a little more pressure on you to keep overtime where it needs to be and working with the team to do that and stay focused only on the step. But I wouldn't feel comfortable with step plus cost of living.
Well, I think, like I said, unless we change it, the step ought to be something they depend on. It's there. It started from the beginning. Here's what I can
As
do.
long as they make their evaluation.
Correct.
They've
Yeah,
got to make
they
their
gotta earn the
evaluation.
step, that's
They've
for
got to
sure.
make their evaluation.
It's
And-
performance oriented.
Right.
It is, correct.
It's not an
Training and
automatic.
performance.
Is everybody getting one?
Yes.
It's pretty obvious.
If they don't get it, it's my fault, I feel. So,
You know, it's-
If they're not doing where we expect them to be along about now, they're gonna be getting pulled into my office, Dave. This morning, we had a little conversation, but we get things worked out early enough, and by the end of the year, everything's rolling.
Yeah, our decision is, I think we look at a couple more data points. It's not about the hard work that the guys are putting in, I understand that. And but it is our job to say, what does our taxpayer base look like? How many folks are unemployed out in our taxpayer base? And is it always right to give a step? Everybody relies on an increase. We have a lot of people that aren't working. So I just kind of look at, there's a lot of folks in the standard workplace that haven't received raises in years. So you have all of this stuff that I just tend to look at and say, you know what, is it right to give the guys a step? It's not about working hard. They're
Well,
working
and it's
hard.
true. Last year, good example, the city was laying people off.
That's right.
And they were upset with us because we were actually giving step
That's
increases. Well, I'm sorry. We have a budget. We stay within it. Maybe we don't buy some piece of equipment out there, but we give the guys a raise, a step raise.
And one thing about, we keep our folks happy, and just like Leavenworth and EMS and all the full-time departments, I can guarantee you, there's at least one person per shift every day sick. So they're always paying somebody sick. Kansas City, Missouri, they got caught in a scandal several years ago where guys were trading sick days. So I'm taking sick tomorrow, you take sick tomorrow, and we'll trade back and forth. Our guys don't do that. They don't take the sick, so we can save money on that aspect of it to be able to pay them a step.
It's not on here, it's step only.
Well, here again, this is the type of organization that,
Oh, okay, it's not on this.
you gotta, the leadership and the management's got to do everything it can to sustain the enthusiasm and the support and everything these guys are putting in.
You bet.
Because when the chips fall, those guys have got to be ready to stand to.
Right.
Well, and the thing, I think, Jeff, what you're hitting at is maybe our guys are getting a raise this year, but the taxes did not go up.
Correct.
I mean, that, to me, that's the big thing. We talk
I agree.
about taxpayers' perception, et cetera, and that's exactly right.
Yeah.
But if our mill does not go up, yeah, we may have more bucks to play with, but it's not going up.
Right.
I mean, compared to 85 million bond that just went through.
That's right.
I mean,
I see, I agree with you. Yeah, the mill's not going up, it's not, we're not gonna have a increasing negative effect on the taxpayer.
You mean
by having to
I
pay.
can't raise a mill 3 or 4 mils?
You know, I feel like this, you know, and we're talking only in each pocketbook, the taxpayer. That's what I'm talking about. And when we try to keep the mill down, and I'm not a happy camper, and I know you're taping this, that the Board of Education comes back with a 70 million, is that what it was?
85.
$85 million. Now, to me, when it's all the citizens' money, and they came back with that, then I'm saying over here on the other side, our fire department is their fire protection for their homes and everything that they're counting on. We try to keep it down, so what we actually did, keeping it down, is give it to the Board of Education, technically.
Taxpayers are gonna pay it.
I understand.
No, I mean, that's who gets
I
the bottom
understand
line.
that, and then we don't have no control over the
Correct.
Board of Education.
But we do have control over the mill levy out of this district, fire district right
I
here.
think you're missing what I'm trying to get at. When we kept it down for the citizens, and the Board of Education came back,
Oh, I think they know that.
well, I think the citizens look at, this is their fire protection. If we're gonna keep the same kind of fire protection, then sooner or later, we can't not raise the melt levy, because we need to hire probably later on.
And like we've said before, by keeping the mill the same,
Right.
we are cutting the budget. Cost of everything went up.
I
So
understand.
by keeping it the same, what, 3, 4 years, or 6 years, the mill was the same, which means we spent less money every year because prices went up.
We've gone up the last 3 years, so we're up.
We have.
Slightly.
Yes.
Yeah,
only
this
thing
year,
that-
we'll stay flat, but we have a lot more.
The
there's
only
some-
thing that would change that would be that
Sooner or later.
if you had the same mill levy, but valuation went up, then you get a
Yeah,
little.
we get a little more.
But if the
Makes up for it.
valuation don't
I
go up,
agree.
you actually cut your budget.
Yeah.
Right.
Did everybody understand what I was trying to say? We cannot, at the expense of the Board of Education, lower our operational
Absolutely.
fire, and that's what I was trying to say.
We've had boards come in here before, well, the city's going up a mill, so we need to drop ours a mill. I said,
No,
okay, what do we do then when the Board of Education
Right.
raises theirs 12 mills and ours is only 6? What do we do now?
We told
We can't do that. We gotta do what we gotta do.
We've done a good job, and just because we did a good job, that doesn't mean to the expense of the Board of Education.
Yep.
And,
You know, I feel pretty good that we've kept the mills down at the same time providing Rick his assets to keep everybody safe, so.
But look at the changes the past 3, 4, 5 years. 24/7 coverage.
Yep.
Firemen in the fire station. Brand new truck out there in the bay.
Better equipment.
Good equipment. Yeah, I think we should be proud. Okay, I got a meeting to go to. So,
I've got two things I want to hit.
Okay,
You
so
want to make a
step-
motion to do that one, or are we going to bring it?
I don't think we need to.
No, it's just, this is just guidance. If the mill levy drops, then it's,
I make a motion that Jim Westmoreland be our treasurer.
Second that.
You did want that,
oh yeah, that's good.
Santa Fe just went through. Jim, you have to vote yes. You have to vote yes.
I have to.
Well, no, I guess supermajority of 4 is 3, so that's all we got. We've only got 4 members, so you don't have to vote yes.
So what kind of timetable do I have to get read on?
Well, I'll talk to you after meeting.
Tomorrow.
Unless you want to stay
When
late
is
after.
Jamie gonna show me the ropes?
I'll get with you after
You
the
can
meeting.
stay late after this meeting because we started
Did
early.
you second?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Charlie Shoemaker,
Yes.
Jeff Clem,
Yes.
Jim Westmoreland,
Yes.
Dean Mulberg.
Yes. Thank you, Jim.
Congratulations. There's no problem.
Double what
Thank
you're
the
making.
chief or whoever arranged the shirts. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I got a large, and I'm gonna be wearing a laundry bag anymore.
You got a medium, Charlie?
This is an extra large.
We don't need
Yeah,
to.
they run big.
Yeah, you need an extra
Yeah, I
large.
got you. You ain't fitting in
Well,
my
it
shirt.
ain't good, I did.
You need a 3X, don't you?
Okay, motion to adjourn.
So move.
I'll second it. You wasn't on second. No.
Charlie Shoemaker,
Yes.
Jeff Clem,
Yes.
Jim Westmoreland,
Yes.
Dean Mulberg.
Yes, thank you all very much.
Thank you. Trying to get you out.